Welcome back to the Junkman's Adventures and this F600 scale model build. If you don't know what the scope of this project is, go watch the previous videos. The first video will give you all the information you need. Also what we're replicating here. You can see we've moved right along. We've got the dump bed done here, and I have some balsa wood on my bench here. And we're going to make a wooden box for this, and I'm going to cut them, glue them together, and see if we can't make this look like a real wooden box. Alright, we got our two front and back panels. This one has 3 and this one has 4 because I'm going to cut a hole in here. This is where the grain's going to fall out. I'll have to make a door that slides up and down. We'll do that later because that's steel, so that'll be out of some styrene. So anyway, next thing I just try to do is just clean up the tops of these and even them all up. It's pretty simple. Just sand it off on each side, and then we're going to be ready to start assembly after we get the rest of the other sides done. So stay tuned. Keep watching. Well, here's my mock-up of my box that I made. I really like it. I gotta put it together. We gotta cut the hole in the back. Then I'll kind of have to shave it and shift it around a little bit, and then gotta put some details. We gotta weather this thing, but I think that's gonna look really neat. So, well, we'll keep working on it, and we'll get to the finished product. Well, I didn't realize I didn't have the camera rolling when I started putting paint on these, but this is just the initial base coat layers. But we put the box together, put the initial coat of, because it's going to be red, and I'll explain how I did this as we go. This is just a very dark gray, almost black primer for the initial base of the frame and suspension and rear end and everything. The blue of the engine is dry. We're going to weather that up. Same with this is going to be like a Wix filter. I just wanted a color variation, so when you're looking from the underside, we'll make it dirty and oily, like, you know, it's got dirt on there. It's too pretty right now. The fan, we'll detail out the belts, but you're only going to see the bottom, and then I have the exhaust manifolds, which we'll put on a little bit later as we weather those. So that's what we're going to do now, and I'll explain as we go. First thing I'm going to tackle here is weathering the box, and I'm going to just use some, I forget what aught steel wool this is, but it's kind of a medium grade, and I'm trying to get the lighting so you can see it here, but we're just going to rub on this. I've determined that this will be the top and this will be the bottom, so I want to rub along, and hopefully in the camera it will show up. I don't want to remove all the paint. Thing is if I screw up, I can always put a few more coats on here, just spritzing here and there. But I want to rub the rails a little bit just to wear away the paint, reveal that wood underneath, to show some wear, and especially inside the box. So I'm going to work on that. Hopefully, and I'm really liking how this is turning out. I'm just rubbing lightly. And yeah, it's kind of lightening it up. It's chipped out some of the paint. You can kind of see it there. Kind of see where I've rubbed here. Where it's worn, you know, like the grain spilling over the side and then rubbing along the rails. And that's what I want. I don't want to remove all the paint, but I want some contrast in here. So when we, so for example, when you look down on it, you're going to see it's worn in here, and it's going to look more realistic. So anyway, I'm going to work on this, and then we'll move along to weathering other parts. Okay, we got some paint on everything, and here we're going to weather the box. Now, I wore away the paint in places where there would be wear, but I don't like how white the balsa wood is under there, so I'm taking a slightly dark wood stain. We're going to just run it along the areas that I wore away the paint, and we're going to just kind of wipe it on with a brush for now. I didn't wear it away everywhere, and put a low coat on of stain, and then we'll just let it sit for just a touch, and then just take a paper towel here, kind of wipe it off, kind of sneak up on it, and hopefully you can see on camera in the light, it kind of made that wood less white, more of a white wood, made it more amber colored, and looks a little more like weathered wood. So I'm going to do the rest of this, like over here on these edges. I knocked all the edges here. We have, well, there's going to be a ladder here, so where the paint wears away and the wood chips away right here, but we want it to look a little weathered, because this is the top of the box, this is the bottom of the box, but down here it wears away. Same with here, what we did on the previous video here. Alright, we're going to keep doing this. Alright, we did some weathering on the engine, and we're got the rear axle on the frame here, and I did some pre-weathering while it was apart and then glued it on, but now I'm going to work on weathering the frame. I got a couple different weathering powders here, real dark brown and this real light orange, which serves as rust. This silver will serve for where metal is worn, but not, you know, wear areas where it doesn't wear. So a lot of what I like to do is take the orange and then just kind of lightly drag it on. I want to hit the edges of things, and then if I don't like it, I can brush it around, or we can wipe it off with our finger, you know, sneak up on it. That's the idea here. But I usually just hit the edges with this, and then I'll hit the then I'll take, you know, if I think, oh, that's too bright, doesn't look too natural, it's like I wanted a little more older rust, we'll take this brown, kind of dull it down a little bit here, and you know, just hitting the edges of the frame. We might even scrape it down here as if water's run down. That'll give some color variations, but we don't want to kill all the dark and we don't want to make it all light. We want a lot of variation, don't want it too uniform. For instance, I'll take this silver. What I like to do with the silver is in areas where I know there's a lot of wear and it doesn't rust, like along here where the box is going to hit the frame, is going to be a lighter color, more silvery, because the box is jiggling around and wearing the paint. It's wearing it. It doesn't have a chance to rust because it's always moving around when the truck is moving. You know, it's probably rusty when you first start it up for the season or after it's been sitting a while, but then it quickly wears that rust off. So I want to hit the top of the frame rails and do that where the box kind of runs and those rails hit. There, and hopefully on camera you're getting a little bit of seeing that, and then I can always go back over with a darker rust color or something if it looks too shiny. But I really want to keep those frame rails nice and shiny. But then you know, in between on these like cross members here, you know, now those stay fairly protected, so they're not going to be too rusty, but we want to hit them a little bit with some brown. And then we're going to dust this with the airbrush later on, and kind of buries this stuff in and kind of settles it on. The cab's going to cover up most of this, actually, so I don't really care about getting too much in there. But anyway, this is the kind of idea, just hitting these areas that you know, the paint's fallen off, it's rusting a little, but then highlighting. And if we get a lot of variation, I'm going to do the underside and everything, that'll make it look as natural as possible. Anyway, I'm going to keep at it, and we're going to see you in the next video when we have more of this stuff put together. We'll have the box actually attached to the base here, and then we might even be able to put the pin in for the last time. And then get around to working on the cab, and that's going to be kind of tough. So I thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe, like this video, share it around. It's the only way it helps this get to more people, and thanks for watching.